His rock and roll career began in 1970. His chart-topping hits with the band Firefall are still played on radio today. But what you don't know about Rick Roberts is that he's been on an even more incredible journey after experiencing a traumatic brain injury. Rick joins me this morning to talk about his books, his music, and so much more. And good to have you here. It's so nice to see you.
It's nice to see you too.
Let's start at the beginning. With Firefall, how awesome was it to write songs and be such a part of such a huge thing of history?
Well, it was a neat thing. Actually, my recorded songwriting career began with the Flying Burrito Brothers back in 1970, and with a couple of solo albums after that. But with Firefall, it was different because by the time the second album had been out a while, we'd had 5 chart singles, and 4 of them were mine. Wow. So I started to feel like it was my responsibility to provide the hit material for the band. And that was kind of an ongoing pressure, you know. But, I mean, it was wonderful. And, you know, there's a lot more to living the rock and roll life than people see. And they see you on stage, they go, wow, that's what I want to do. But that's an hour and a half out of 24. And the other 22 and a half are not quite as glamorous, you know.
They don't know what goes on behind closed doors. And you're right about that, too. I would imagine that it's tougher to stay at the top once you get there than actually trying to get there.
You have to exceed what you did last time every time.
Yeah. Well, you are exceeding in life. You wrote 2 books. One is Lame Brain, but let's start with Song Stories. What inspired you to write Song Stories?
Well, actually, both books originally were part of a larger work, my memoir. I got talked into writing that a few years ago, but when I turned it into the literary agent who'd been waiting for it for a year, she said, it's twice as long as it should be. If I'd been on top of my game, I would have written it right back and said, well, maybe I had twice as much story to tell.
Good for you.
But I wasn't quite on top of it, so I didn't do that. But I got with my editor, and we went over it, and we decided there were certain segments that could stand alone. So both books were taken out, a segment of the memoir, and I enlarged on them. So.
Very nice. And Song Stories, actually, it talks about, you know, the songs and the lyrics and the stories behind them. Is there one that stands out to you that could be one of your favorites?
Well, of course, since all of them are a little piece of my life, you know, the songs and the stories behind them, I'm partial to all of them. But one that sticks out is Dolphins Little Boy. It's a song from the first album. And over the years, I've been told a whole lot of times by different people that they use that song to get their child to sleep at night.
Dolphins Lullaby.
And then someone told me the best story recently. He said he used to play that to lull his daughter to sleep. And when she got married a couple of years ago, she used it for the father-daughter dance.
Oh, how sweet.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that certainly brings a tear to your eye. You've changed someone's life for the better. And unfortunately, you had a traumatic brain injury. Can you explain what happened?
Well, it definitely ranks in the top 10 of the all-time stupidest injuries. No car accident, no dramatic event or anything. We had 2 puppies, and they like to chew on things like puppies will, and they chewed up a pen. So we put a throw rug over the stain until we could get a cleaning service in. I came out down the hall one morning and stumbled over the rug and hit my forehead on the corner of our kitchen island.
Oh.
And, you know, about a week later, a little blood blister had developed. It was nothing at first, and my wife saw it, and she said, you know, that popped. And I went, really? So it wouldn't stop bleeding, so we went to the emergency room, and they told me, you're going to lose your ability to walk. And I went, nah, this happened a week ago. I'm walking fine. They said, no, it'll happen. And I said, when? They said, soon. So about a month after that, I got out of bed one morning, and my legs collapsed, and I could not get up. And
oh my gosh, how long did it take you to regain your ability to walk?
Well, it was about a year and a half before I could really wrap my head around the fact that this was permanent unless I really did something about it. The doctors told me it was 50-50 that I could get my legs back. But I finally accepted that I'd have to, you know, work with a therapist, and it was about 5 years before I could really, you know, walk regular.
So you had to go through physical exercises and physical therapy, and you actually created some of your own exercises. Is that true?
I did. I had a wonderful therapist, Helmut Tingstad, who was very creative in his approach to my particular case. But he encouraged me to do more,
Good.
which is a great thing. So I invented little exercises that I could do anywhere, like tapping my fingers and changing the order, like 1, 4, 2, 3, 1 through 3, 4, 1, 4.
Yeah,
You know.
and consciously think of which
and
number.
change it constantly so that you never got to by rote. You know, you had to keep thinking
Interesting.
all the time. And just things like that.
Well, I'm glad you're doing so well. And I want to talk about your book, Lame Brain. What's the goal for that?
Well, if all things go perfectly, I'll have the opportunity to go out and speak behind that book and offer maybe some hope and encouragement to other people in a similar situation to what I was in. And, you know, that would be wonderful.
Yes, well, I'm sure it'll happen. I mean, you are a man that sets goals and you achieves those goals, including walking, which is wonderful. Quickly, I know you want to say a special happy birthday message.
Yes, my longtime bandmate, compatriot in many projects, Michael Clark, would have been having, I think, his 71st birthday today, if I'm not mistaken.
He passed.
And he passed away from alcohol.
At a young age. Yeah. Well, thank you. It was an honor for having you on the show. I'm glad you're doing so well. Books are wonderful. You can find Lame Brain and Song Stories at bookstores and e-retailers. Learn more about Rick and what he's up to now online. Here's his website, rickrobertsmusic.com. That's rickrobertsmusic.com.